to anybody that would listen, I said Paddy Pimblett by first round TKO or by decision. I made a video on it. I said essentially Paddy Pimblett needs to win just for the UFC, and he went out there and did that. You know, he looked really good, and his chin was still up in the air. He still kind of strikes lunging forward with his hands down, so anybody that can counter strike fast and effectively will catch him. But I just hope in the next few months he gets straight back into training and just works on his striking. He showed really, really good ground control versus Tony Ferguson, went out there in the first round. Very good left teep to the body. I've always said Paddy Pimblett's left kick, his snappy high kick is brilliant. The left teep is lightning fast. And I think that's the best part of his striking game. You know, his footwork's not too bad either. He has that nice little bounce and he kind of bounces out the way, but his chin is always up in the air. I kind of expected his chin to still be in the air, to be honest. But goes out there, 1-2s on Tony Ferguson for days. A nice snappy jab from below, then a one that kind of comes over the top, kind of like an overhand, but it was more of a straight. And it catches Ferguson once, catches him again. Ferguson's back against the cage, runs in with a flying jumping knee, puts Ferguson down, pounding him in the first round. And Paddy Pimblett looked quite tired in the second round. He came out there looking really tired, and I was like, oh fuck, he's kind of blew his load a little bit in the first round. And even in the post-fight speech he said, I kind of blew all my energy trying to finish him in the first, but Ferguson's really tough. Also, Pimblett wasn't necessarily that accurate with the ground and pound, I must say. A lot of the shots were kind of missing or landing on the guard of Ferguson, but sucks for Ferguson, really sucks for Ferguson. Pimblett went out there a 30-27 decision. First round was so dominant. Second round had top control, landing good shots. Third round, good calf kicks by Pimblett. Pimblett takes him down, dunks him on the ground, holds him into full guard. Ferguson looked like he almost had a guillotine at one point, but Pimblett kept his head side on. There was no chance he was letting that in. And great post-fight speech, by the way. Pimblett always does this. He said respect to Tony Ferguson for being a legend of the sport. He would have loved to have gotten the finish, but he's very tough. Ferguson's so tough. He gave a shout out to his wife, said I was not losing while those babies were like in the arena, because obviously Laura's pregnant with his twins, and I'm really happy to see that, because Pimblett was compromised in the Jared Gordon fight, and I think that was just a bad performance, and this was by far his best performance in the UFC. He looked more complete, he looked bigger as well. Pimblett looked much bigger, he looked much stronger, and it was a really, really good performance against Tony Ferguson. Ferguson had a few moments where he was catching him. Pimblett did get tired in the second round, but he stayed composed. Really, really good performance by Pimblett. As he goes up the ranks, I do really worry for him though, because his chin always is up in the air, and that is an issue, I must admit. Like, I mean, everyone sees it, everyone is aware of it. That is slightly a problem. However, I'm really, really happy for him. And regardless of if he loses his next fight, regardless of anything, he's 5-0 in the UFC, which is really good. Especially coming from Liverpool, 5-0 in the UFC. Really good. He showed really good ground control and composure on the ground. That is his natural style. Have you seen how he's built? He's been grappling for 10 years. He's a second-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. His body is built for being a grappler, quite top-heavy, like slim legs but big thighs. Like, he's just a really, really high and he made weight much easier this time, I must admit. He even said the weight cut's easy. On fight week he was walking around 12 pounds over, which is literally that's nothing. That's 5 kilos to cut. That's water weight that can go in 2 days after water loading for it. That's not difficult. And what can I say? I said it would happen. What's next for Tony Ferguson? I've got no clue. I think he's done. I don't think he fights in the UFC again, to be honest. Paddy Pimblett is kind of like a bottom of the barrel lightweight at this point in time, and if you can't get through him, then I mean, he's almost lost 10 fights in a row. He looked really slow tonight. He still does what Tony Ferguson does. He lands shots, but he looked so slow. I mean, all credit to Pimblett, but Ferguson did look really slow. Really good for Pimblett though to be in there with someone who isn't as much of a threat on the feet as other people, to get him that cage time. Also tides him over a wee bit. Okay, I've got more money in the bank. another fight in the book. I'm going to go back and work on my striking now. He now has 3 rounds to watch over and improve on. And I can't wait to see where he takes it. I think give him someone not in the top 15 next. I think give him someone outside the top 15, maybe give him Drew Dober, Bobby Green, someone like that. Someone that can pose a real threat, someone quite strong. And I want to see Pimblett continue his grappling. That's what I said. If you guys remember that video I made over a year ago now, that said how to save Paddy Pimblett's career. I made that about 11 months ago. Biggest thing I said was grapple. Play to your strengths, be a heel, grapple. His striking looked good. I would like to see him tidy it up though, which I'm sure he will go away and do. But phenomenal fights. The flyweight fight is on right now and I just don't care, I'm just not watching it. But I have to go back out and find a place to sit and watch the Leon Edwards-Colby fight. I just thought I'd make this video. And really, really happy for Paddy Pimblett. It's what he deserves. Tony Ferguson, it's time. You're so slow. Reaction time's not there. Your footwork wasn't there. He was kind of just there with his hands by his sides, like throwing like sloppy jabs. He was catching Pimblett though. He did do very well. He looked good. He looked good on the ground. You know, Pimblett he went for a few submissions. Pimblett shot them down though. Pimblett very composed on the ground, very well trained on the ground. And yeah, that's all I really have to say, folks. Very happy to be back making videos again, and fair play to Paddy Pimblett. He did what I said he was gonna do. And yeah, if he got the finish, that would have been massive, but I actually prefer that he went the full 3 rounds, got that experience, cage time. It's more footage for him to look over and it will help him improve. And if he went out there and starched him in a minute, I don't think that would have been very good for him. Popularity wise, it would have been, but he's back on track now. Now that he's won a decision clear 3 rounds to none, people are going to start playing the narrative of, oh, this is what happens when Pimblett's not compromised and all this, which is true. However, I want Pimblett to keep building from this. If he wins another fight, he's 6-0 in the UFC, and he will have to start fighting some ranked guys. So I want Pimblett to come back April or May before his babies are born. One more fight in like 4 or 5 months. Give him four months maybe to come back and fight again. Then win that fight, take a good 5 months off, and come back at the end of the year and fight someone ranked. Anyway, perfect. Subscribe.